They were working, to use the example of this pharmaceutical company, and the pharmaceutical company was maybe like lacking behind. There were two companies that were lacking behind the overall industry. One of the companies just kept trying to compete with the top pharmaceuticals, and the other company decided, look, we can't be the best in the world at this. All these other companies have millions of pounds of investment, they've got their own research labs, we don't have that. What we need to do is work out what can we be good at and what can we be the best at. And then they decided to change their strategy completely and went into I think it was providing nutritionists, that's not even a word, nutritional food to, I think, hospitals and different things. And they became the best in the world at it, and completely left behind their other competitors who were still trying to get into this pharmaceutical top 3 companies, and then in the end got acquired because they thought they could be the best in the world at it, but never really looked at this. The facts, the cold hard truth. We're not ever going to be the best in the world at this. So he also says that people are scared that actually if they look at, can we be the best in the world at this? No. So now what do we do? He's saying if you just keep looking and just keep on looking, you will find something that you'll find the something best in the world at. And that's made me start thinking, so with what I'm doing, can I be the best in the world at that? And that's a really scary question to ask.
What's your answer?
I have to be.
But is the thing that you're doing something that you can be the best in the world at?
I think so, because I think I've got quite a unique perspective that I haven't met many people that have the same experience that I have on so many different levels. So I think that is possible. I think obviously it's probably at too early of a stage right now to really determine that, because I've only I've not even officially launched my business yet. At the point when I do, and maybe after a year or so, then I would need to revisit that question.
Okay. Well, let's look at the second circle then. Is it something you're deeply passionate about?
Definitely something I'm incredibly passionate about.
Okay. What drives your economic engine? I didn't really understand that.
Neither. When you asked me, I was like, oh no, I don't know the answer.
So I think, I'm not sure.
I think what can make you money, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But I feel like I could make money,
Okay.
As I said, I think it's a bit too early to really know. Maybe in a year's time to come back. But I think it's very important that companies that are operating and have been operating for more than a year, maybe even 6 months actually, ask themselves those questions. Because it's true. Like, you can be sitting beating this dead horse. It's not even beating a horse, is it? It's flogging a dead horse. For a long while, thinking I can make money from this, I can make money from this. But if no money's coming in, maybe you can't. And maybe you're just not the best.
But then how do you know? How do you know you haven't given it enough time?
I don't know.
It's a good question. How do you know?
You look at market research. So, for example, I was running an event management company, and there was to be honest, I kind of have been through this process where I looked around and said, look, can I be the best at this? Let's look at what the competitors are doing. Can I be better than them? And I thought to myself, actually, I don't think that I can. And when I looked at other people that had started out after me and had made significantly more money and got significantly more contracts, clearly there's something here that's not working. Was I passionate about it deeply? I enjoy doing events. Could I live without doing an event again in my life? Yeah. When that was what I had to ask myself, if you couldn't do another event ever again, would you be able to cope? Yeah. Actually, I don't even know if I like events.
Really?
When I really looked at it properly.
That's interesting.
And I'd been so focused on, and it kind of was, every time I read these books I can see my life in it. But it was that kind of thing that for ages I was just like, I've got to do this and I have to make it successful. But I had to look at the cold hard fact. I don't even like it. I'm not making any money from it. And I can't be the best at it. So why am I still doing it?
You didn't like it?
No. I hated it.
That's really interesting.
I really hated it.
Because for the longest time, I saw that your identity was like linked to events. And when I even I think of events now to this day, I think of like you. But like you don't.
No.
That's really interesting.
It's stressful. It's very stressful. And I think what I like is putting events on. What I don't like is event management.
Okay.
So give me some money and tell me to go and organise an event in my back garden. I will love that.
Okay.
Because I'm in charge. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
You as a client come and say organise an event for you. I don't want to do that.
Okay. Well, yeah, but that goes back to this whole idea of working on the business and not in it. Like you get other people. I heard this quote the other day that says, people that are in business look at an idea or get an idea and go, how can I do this, or how can I make money from this? And then entrepreneurs look at a business idea and say, how do I get someone else to do this? You know what I mean?
Wasn't that in the E-Myth?
I guess that's the concept of the E-Myth, but I heard it on a podcast. It was somewhere else, in totally different. But that's the whole idea, right? Instead of you're still passionate about events, but you don't want to do the
no,
actual
but that's
work.
what I'm saying. I'm not.
You want to get someone else to do it.
Even if I got someone else to do the work, it's not. It's no longer something that I'm interested in. Like, so for example, with my new business, I am going to get other people to do the work, but I'm still passionate.
You're still passionate about the subject.
Yeah, the subject matter. So I know I would be doing reading, even if I'm not delivering anything.
Right.
I would be continuing my research and stuff like that. Whereas with the events, I like looking at pretty pictures, but there wasn't any vested passion in it.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Well, there was. Sorry, I lied. There was initially.
Okay.
But the last maybe 1.5 to 2 years of running the business.
Okay.
Wasn't interested.
One more point about the hedgehog concept, because I don't think we've actually defined it properly, because people are probably wondering, why is he called it a hedgehog concept over something else? And he used the example of a fox and a hedgehog, right?
Yeah.
So the fox is quite cunning and quick and has different strategies and tactics to get to like attack the hedgehog, but the hedgehog only has one fundamental advantage over the fox. When he sees the fox coming and trying to attack, he curls up into a ball, and he has this kind of strategy to kind of repel the fox, right?
Not repel the fox. A hedgehog has got spikes. When the fox jumps on it, it gets stabbed with the spikes.
Okay, I didn't want to be so blunt and graphic on camera. I mean,
that's
quite aggressive.
You can curse though.
Yeah, that's quite aggressive, isn't it? Like, why do you have blood and stuff? So what I'm saying is that the hedgehog has one strategy that knows that he's going to defeat the fox every time he comes to attack, right? And it's just about having that one focused approach that's going to give you the advantage over your competitors, over people that are just doing lots of things and lots of activity, but it's not really well directed.
Yes.
Okay, cool. What about this whole idea of a culture of discipline? So let me ask you. So the fourth point was this culture of discipline, right? So he says, when you have disciplined people, you don't need hierarchy. When you have disciplined thought, you don't need bureaucracy. And when you have disciplined action, you don't need excessive controls. So again, it just goes back to this whole idea of when you have the right people on the bus, right? You don't need to kind of have amazing incentives and financial incentives to get people motivated and get people to do things, because they'll just do it. Not because only they want to do it, because
that's who they are.
That's who they are, right? Yeah. So again, that's something that you agree with.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this is why I was trying to be a boss that wasn't too, and it worked out to be to my disadvantage. But that's because I didn't have all of the right people on board. But I felt that if you people really want to succeed in what you're doing, I shouldn't have to be on your back every 10 seconds. Because I know that if I had a boss, the boss wouldn't have to be on my back every second. Because if I've got the job, I'm just going to do it.
Right.
So I definitely agree with that. But it's very important that it's the right people, because you can't take that approach with the wrong people.
With the wrong people,
or
definitely.
They'll just take liberties and
definitely.
then you have to fire them.
Cool. All right. So just touching on the last two, just before we bring the show to an end. Technology accelerators. So he says, good to great companies think differently about technology. Technology is not used as the ignition of change. Technology itself is never the cause of greatness or decline, but it will accelerate your climb if you have the right hedgehog concept. So I think what he's ultimately saying is that a lot of businesses think, we have to get this great technology system in place and we have to use new technology and that will help us get to, where we want to go. But he says, no, actually, having the right strategy in place first, having the right hedgehog concept in place first, and then using technology as an accelerator of that change is actually what's going to make the difference. Technology by itself it's wasted, right? So having the newest fandangled stuff, it's just like whatever.
Like was it the government that spent like spent £1.5 million on a website that didn't even work. That same concept. You can't just throw technology at something and expect it to be
the answer to the problem. Exactly. And the last point here is fantastic concept actually, and goes back to a book that we read recently, The Compound Effect. And he talks about the flywheel and the doom loop, right? So he says this is basically the compound effect in action. So he says great companies, like anything in life, is not down to one pivotal turning point where everything suddenly took off. There was no miracle moment, right? Rather, success is like pushing against a giant flywheel. I'm not really sure what a flywheel is. So I'm assuming.
I'm trying to visualize this analogy,
Okay,
but I don't know.
so I'm assuming what it, like, the image that I have in my head is like this big giant metal wheel. So if you imagine this huge metal wheel, maybe the size of this room or whatever, and so you're trying to spin it, you're trying to move it, you're trying to roll it down the garden, right?
I think that you might have got that wrong, but continue.
But humor me. So imagine that it's standing from, and it's like, imagine like a huge penny. That's it. Imagine a massive giant penny, and you're trying to push it down the garden, right? Now, obviously, the first few times that you try and push it, it's going to be heavy and it's going to be hard, and it's going to move quite slowly. But once it starts to move, each time you push it, it feels as though you have less effort to push it, and it's still moving faster and faster and faster. And he says that's basically what that's what great companies do. They have a hedgehog concept, they employ that hedgehog concept, they start pushing the flywheel or the large penny, and it's hard to move it in the beginning, but once it gets going, it's just, and then he asked the question, so when people then see your massive success out of 15 years, they're like, oh, what was the one thing that changed? Or what was the one push that made it go down the garden? And you're like, well, it wasn't one push, it was like a series of small pushes, but I can't tell you that the 98th push was better than the 15th was better than the 12th. They were all equal. So it goes back to this idea of just constantly putting in the work, trotting along and going in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And then he uses the example of an egg, right? So it's the same process. So if you look at an egg, this is probably a better example. So if you look at an egg, there's a process going on inside the egg that's happening for a long period of time. But then what happens, one day the egg hatches and then a chick comes out, right? And then you're like, oh wow, and then people start taking photos and like a miracle within the egg, and then the egg has done this amazing thing and it's transformed. But actually, the process was going on for a very long time. Just that one bit towards the end was the breakthrough. But it was all those other series of steps. So that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. So what do you think about that?
Makes sense. It's true. You always hear people that they were overnight success, and then you hear those same people say it was a 15-year overnight success. Because unless you went on, well, even people that go on like the X Factor and stuff, it's still not an overnight success because you don't see all the years that they were practicing. And so I think that there's nothing such as an overnight
There's
success.
nothing, right?
Everything requires some sort of work or sacrifice or pain to get to the aha point.
But it's funny because in society, we only see the successes. When we see these big companies, we're like, oh wow, they're huge and look how they got to where they are. But we don't see when they started in their basement or in their living room and they were struggling for years and they almost went broke and they had issues in their relationship. We don't see all that stuff. We only see them when they're like this huge mega company, mega successful, and we're like...
But that's why I love biographies and biopics, because then you see
that.
all of the hard work that went in and the challenges and failures.
Okay. Cool. All right. Critiques.
Can you give yours first?
Okay.
Reconsider mine.
Okay. Reconsider yours.
Not reconsider, just because I started to consider.
Okay.
Complete my consideration.
Okay. Critiques are that I feel as though it's very tailored towards big business. Just by looking at like just the cover itself, like you just see this mega corporation, right? And you get this feeling that. You didn't get that?
No.
Okay, these are my critiques. Okay,
I know, but obviously I need to give you some
feedback on my critiques. You don't need to critique my critique. My critiques are my critiques. So I feel as though it's catered towards big business a little bit too much. Like if maybe he had a slightly more emphasis towards entrepreneurs and startups, because that's where we are kind of now. Okay, these are my critiques. So that's the one criticism I would make, and then the other one
You
is
said one. So that's not two.
is that enough?
No, you just said that's my one criticism.
That's
And
what that's one
and
criticism.
You didn't phrase that correctly. But
Okay,
continue.
that's one criticism. The other criticism is, I have a co-host that butts in a lot of the time, and that's a bit of an issue. But it's nothing to do with Jim Collins. You're a great author. I want to read his other book actually, Built to Last. It's based on this. I thought it was a good book.
You said there was another critique.
No, I'm going to leave it now because you keep
You're
critiquing the
annoying.
critique.
No, I don't think that it was written for big. Well, even though it was, I think that there's enough. It makes enough sense that the same thing could be applied to a small.
It could be applied.
And the idea is, how do you go from good to great? There's no. If you're great, you're not necessarily a one-man band. So therefore,
No, but if you're a one-man band, you're not necessarily good either. You're just a one-man
so
band.
therefore, I'm not talking. He's not talking to you. He's talking to the companies that've gone from good.
Yeah, I know,
to great.
I know.
And great equals big money, big business. So that's how it has to talk about it. If you're an entrepreneur startup or you're running a small business, if you're not trying to become,
But you want to become great.
well, then read the book because it's telling you how to do it.
No,
you
but-
can't give examples.
Yeah, but as an entrepreneur, you're not good. You're just an entrepreneur. You're
Well,
just
then go
starting
and
in the
read the
bedroom.
book that tells you how to be good, and then when you finish, then you come back and read
And then
this
you
one.
come and read that
I don't
one.
understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
listen, it's my critiques. Yeah,
but what I'm saying is your critique doesn't really.
it doesn't make any sense.
But okay, my own
No,
critique.
I just felt that it could have been catered more towards the entrepreneur
But
who
if it
was
was
thinking
catered more
about
towards
starting
an
out.
entrepreneur, it would be a completely different book. The book is how do you take a good company, not an individual,
Okay.
and turn it into a great multi-million
Okay.
pound
Listen,
Fortune
I was
500
struggling to find
company.
critiques.
Well, then
right?
you don't give one.
I'm struggling to find critiques. That's the only one I can think of.
Okay, so my only critique is it's a bit academic.
No, it's not.
Oh really? Not
It's not
academic's not the
academic at all.
word.
It's very easy to
It's
read.
a bit. I didn't think it was that easy to read. This is the first book in a while that I haven't actually managed to finish in the week. I think it's a bit. I don't know what the word is. Long-winded, maybe.
No.
Like it's a bit too in deep. Like it's a bit too high level.
No, not at all.
No.
No, it's very straightforward. Considering that I thought it was going to be a proper business academic book, it's very simple to read. Like the concepts in it. Hedgehog, I get that.
Yeah. No,
I know what
it's not like
hedgehogs
I
are.
don't get it. You know what it is? I just think maybe I needed to have read it on a Kindle, so I don't know why it's not on Kindle. That's annoying.
Is that a criticism?
The big hardback book kind of put me off.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. It just wasn't. It didn't flow for me as nicely as
Okay.
some of the other books.
Okay.
Like it wasn't a book, and this is not even a critique. I guess it's more about the personal style of book that I
Yeah.
prefer. It's not the kind of book that you could dip in and out of. You
Yeah.
have to read it.
True. Maybe it's because it's not written for an entrepreneur. It's written for a big business CEO. I don't know. Maybe that's. Maybe that's what it is. Rating.
No, I can't. It's so funny.
Pull yourself together.
I'll give it an 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not higher?
I just told you why. It's a bit long to read it.
Okay.
It's a bit long-winded
Okay.
in parts.
All
Very
right.
good book. I
Yeah.
just think it doesn't fit with my personal style of book that I like.
Okay.
Even though he did use stories in it,
Yeah.
I did like the fact that he used the stories. I thought that was really that made it not feel as what is the it's not academic, formal, like reading a business report. That kind
Okay.
of that's how I felt.
There were reports in it, and
Yeah.
because he did borrow a lot from the stock market and analysis, but he had to do
No,
that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I think it's just my personal preference.
Okay. You wanted more stories like Malcolm Gladwell,
Yeah,
you know,
basically.
just like telling you nice, happy stories.
Pretty much.
Okay. I'll give it a 9.
Right.
I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Brilliant, amazing book. Okay, what's the next book that we're reading?
Gary V.
I'm not gonna like this.
Vaynerchuk. Why are you not gonna like
I don't
it?
like him.
Oh.
That's why.
Why now is the time to crush it? Cash in on your passion.
Ugh, just sounds so crass and just so very American.
You know what's
And
funny?
just-
The whole time I thought Gary Vee was that other guy that we watch on his videos. Watch his videos, but it's not him.
What do you mean? It's not him.
He's like from America, New York, I think. Dark hair. He does lots of his videos with a black shortboard. Who's he?
Oh no, that's He's my personal.
But I always
love
thought
him.
that was Gary
Oh, that's
Vaynerchuk.
no, that's not. No.
What's his name?
His name is something else. Iranian guy.
Yeah.
Insurance.
Yeah.
Love him. He's brilliant.
Well,
he's got a couple of good books as well.
I thought that's who we was reading.
No, this is the wine library guy. You know, the guy that made his money from doing wine videos for like the past like 25 years and made like 30 million doing online wine videos. You know Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's now set up like this. He's now. You were the one that suggested this book. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So I'm about to read this book now. You have no idea who he is, and I'm not gonna like it because I don't like
the
him.
reviews are good. And I know a lot of people that rate him heavily, but the whole time they've been rating him, I thought they were Anyway, Beg, Borrow and Steal to learn the hustle and techniques that helped him build a $60 million business and reinvent the rules on his own terms. Best-selling author. #1 New York. Oh, sorry. That's who wrote the review. Gary Vee is the New York Times best-selling author of the Thank You Economy and creator of the hugely popular Wine Library TV.
Yeah.
So, tune in next week.
See you then.
If you can, have a read. Let us know what you think of it.
We look forward to that. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. Again, we're trying to get to 50 subscribers by the end of the year. So please, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe.
Please subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Please subscribe on YouTube.
The 5% Club. Right?
Yeah, 5% Club.biz.
And if you're not already joined to our Facebook group, Elevate Reading Group, please join.
Please join. Lots of useful discussions that we have after the book reading. So please join there as well. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. Thank you very much for your time, Daniela. Remember, your success is something that you generate through the person that you become. So become the best possible version of yourself. Thank you.